Good morning. The Out of Bounds Show is brought to you by the Amazing Steaks and Atmosphere. KesslerPrime.com to make a reservation. Steve Robertson joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Steve, I don't know if you caught the audio from Kenny Dillingham about Arizona State having to stay an hour away, and I don't really care. But I assume they're staying in Tupelo, and Ole Miss teams stay there, Mississippi State teams stay there, and so on. But will you let him know that you can get like fillets medium rare and redfish and street tacos and and calamari and all kinds of good things in Starkville as far as the culinary scene?
Well, no, I'm not going to, because I don't want to have to wait for a table. I don't want all of them coming in and we want to spend some money here. A lot of this is much ado about nothing, to be quite honest with you, because kind of as you mentioned, we've had several teams that have stayed in Philadelphia at the casino.
Sure.
For years, teams have stayed at either Columbus or Tupelo, and the truth of the matter is, and I transcribed that press conference yesterday, he wasn't trying to make a joke, and I don't think it was a shot at Starkville, as some people have kind of made it out to be. But, hey, whatever fires up the fan base and gets them to Davis Wade Stadium on Saturday is perfectly fine with me. So if everybody showed up, well,
they need.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. They need they need at least 55,000. In the stadium, raising hell for a night game with a ranked team and the LEDs and all that. This is such a big game for Levy and Selman because this thing's teetering, and you got to find a way to rack up some wins. So let's go down to Southern Miss first. You were there. You've been writing about it, posting about it all weekend. We'll start with the good. What's your one big takeaway from the game, 34-17, Dogs beats Southern Miss?
When Mississippi State wanted the game to be over, the game was over. In the third quarter, State played probably the best quarter of football they have played in the Jeff Levy era on both sides of the ball. 3 straight drives with touchdowns, and defensively they were outstanding. Get the 3 and out, then get the pick. And when State decided it was time to put separation between themselves and the Golden Eagles, Levy and the staff were able to hit the gas pedal and do exactly that. And I think that's the most encouraging part of the weekend, is that, rather than just kind of let those guys hang around and get out of there with an ugly win, State went in and took care of business.
Mm-hmm. Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports, Boneyard Podcast. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. The defense looked bigger, faster, stronger. But when you looked at it, what did you see and you went, okay, I like what I'm watching here?
The corners. And I like the fact that they were tested early. I mean, you knew Southern Miss would come out and try to take a shot to try to get some early momentum. And they went after Diego Brumfield and Kelly Jones in the first and second quarters. And both times, both guys had PBUs. And I think that's the one thing we talked about on defense that we were a little bit concerned about, was the corner room. And, it's just 1 week, but, Braylon Braxton's comments about Kelly Jones in postgame I thought were interesting. Like, he just kind of unprompted. He said, hey, number one, is a dog. Going at him with his length and speed, it's kind of difficult. And I asked Blake Shapen about that as well, about, what makes him. You're a guy that's, thrown against him for a year now. What do you think? And he goes, yeah, typically when you see Kelly out there, you target somebody else. And we've always known that he has the physical skill. It's just a matter of kind of learning the position. But I thought the corners really held up well, and I think that bodes well kind of moving forward.
Okay. Offense. They did what they needed to do. Everybody knows, I guess most everybody knows, that a chunk of the offensive linemen transferred in after the spring. And you saw this all weekend. This wasn't just Mississippi State. Okay, bunch of teams trying to get their O-line, gelling and the chemistry. 14 penalties for 119 yards, and Arizona State was penalized at a high level too over the weekend, but you got to clean that up. Do you feel like they're going to be able to take out the pre-snap, the alignment penalties in 1 week?
Yeah, I think so because that's about you, right? I mean, it's a very correctable issue, and Steen won't play this week, and so it kind of makes you wonder how they'll construct this offensive line. Luke Work didn't play last week. I was told he could have, and had it been an SEC opponent, he probably would have. Does he play this week? And where do you kind of move people around to accommodate him? But you mentioned the Arizona State thing, and I think they set a high team high in the Dillingham era with penalties, and a couple of those were huge. It was a holding call on a screenplay that negated the touchdown. They had another big passing play that was called back due to an ineligible downfield, and so they've had some of the same issues. It's not just germane to Mississippi State, and I think that's going to be a big factor. I do think it'll be a close ball game, and the team that probably cleans up so much of that operational stuff is going to have the advantage.
Yeah. All right, so you got two NFL guys, Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson. And so you got Hutzler, McIntyre, and Rhodes. You know this. Levitt led them in rushing, so there is no Scattaboo. And so Levitt had to carry the load, their quarterback, running the football. What did that say to you, Steve?
Well, Northern Arizona came out and ran some bare front and some five with some overhang and kind of dared them to throw the football. And if you watch that game, there were some times they were able to kind of break containment and get chunk plays. But it was a very unorthodox defense, so there's not going to be a lot of carryover in their preparation. But I thought Nick Mitchell said it best yesterday. We've talked to Nick a lot in the last week or so, but Levitt's biggest plays are broken plays, and that's kind of what you saw with that Northern Arizona game. You go back to last year's game against Mississippi State. Kelly Jones loses outside contain on a drive where Arizona State's in plus territory, but you got a chance to get off the field. You lose contain and it gets outside, and all due respect to Braylon Braxton, who I think is going to be a really good quarterback at Southern Miss, especially in the Sun Belt. But Sam Levitt would lap him in a foot race. I mean, Sam Levitt is an incredible runner. And against Northern Arizona, there was a play on 3rd and 4. They had 3 consecutive 3-and-outs and kind of bogged down, and he just kind of puts it on his shoulders. They vacate the middle. He takes off and runs like 50 yards for a touchdown, and nobody could catch him. I mean, that's the danger with him. And I'd say a good player comp is Bo Nix. When you think about what Bo Nix was, getting him on the ground is a real chore. Because he is so, evasive in the pocket. But when he decides to go, he's not sliding. He's not just going to run for 5 yards and get down and get back to the huddle. He's trying to score. He's an elite athlete. And that's one of the things this week I think where State really has to be careful is containing him and not letting him improvise.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you containing Levitt with more talent on the defensive side of the football. And then on the offense, I've only got a minute, Steve. I would have to believe the offensive line working out some of their kinks. And with that running back group, you want to be able to run the football all night in Starkville to open up other things.
And I thought the running back room was as advertised. And they spread the workload around a little bit, to kind of save some wear and tear. And so I think you're in good shape there. And I think you saw what Mississippi State can be with that running game, and you probably need to do a lot more of that this week.
Okay. I got about a minute. Anything else that, as far as going into week 2, other than this is a massive game for them?
Well, special teams, and I think in close games that matters. But, Arizona State put a lot of balls at or near the end zone on the kickoff, but so did Northern Arizona. I'm interested to see how much that ball carries off the Arizona State kicker's feet in this humidity in the South. That'll be an interesting dynamic. Are there plays to be made in the return game for Mississippi State? You hope so. But I think it's going to be an important aspect of this game. It may boil down to special teams.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
See ya.
GenesPage.com, 247 Sports. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Mike Detillier at 8:30.